Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast of the most unbearable set of fans on the planet right now. Home of the European champions on the third level, but also the not only continental champions, but the champions of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Chelsea Echo. This is a review of Chelsea 3, PSG nil. Now, we're recording this later than we anticipated, purely because today I found myself at the hospital, not for celebrating too hard, but with an ear infection, which is never fun. But big thanks to the NHS for sorting me out today. Great to have a free healthcare service in a great country run by somebody who doesn't stand in the middle of team photos, which is something we're going to have to touch on because that was fucking nuts. That is not something I had on my bingo card for 2025. I did have Chelsea winning the Club World Cup, obviously, but I kept that to myself, obviously, for the sake of content. I had to play devil's advocate, but I'm going to stop talking now because I ramble when I'm excited, and my co-host, Mr. Daniel Childs, knows that very well. Dan, I'm just going to let you talk for a moment and go through your head because I still can't get my head round what happened yesterday.
No, it's one of the maddest just nights I think I've particularly from a Chelsea point of view. And listen, as a Chelsea fan, I've been privileged to watch a lot of mad things, great mad things, but so much about last night felt utterly bizarre and like a fever dream. Watching the game say it's kicking off at 8 p.m. for it only to kick off 10 minutes later because of nonsense pre-show crap that should be nowhere near football, to then Chelsea just turning up and just walking through PSG like they're an average team. I mean, just utter like I couldn't believe my eyes. Like genuinely, like the ease to which Chelsea was strolling through this team. Cole Palmer just he coolly slots in one, he coolly slots in a second. João Pedro doing like a samba dance after chipping Gianluigi Donnarumma. Like you think up to that point, halftime 3-0, you're like, this is bad enough. And then of course João Neves, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was one of the Neveses got himself sent off.
João Neves got a bit kinky. Yeah, he got a little.
Yeah.
He likes a little bit of hair pulling, a little bit of choking as well. I reckon.
See. Here's the thing I don't understand. Like, I this is not a thought I had last night when I watched the Champions League semi-final. He looks like the lost member of like Greece. Like he looks like he should. He looks like he should be in Greece. I don't understand. He looks like he's way out of like his era. Like he looks like he's time traveled. It's bizarre. Like he should be with Danny Zuko, like on the steps singing well. But you have all of that madness. Luis Enrique tries to strangle João Pedro after the game, and like a full fist fight ensues. But
do you reckon someone called him Arteta?
Probably. You're in phase minus.
You're in phase 2, mate.
You're in phase 2, mate.
You're phase 2.
Yeah. So you have all that, and you think that okay, it can't get much madder, and then you realise that Kiernan Dewsbury Hill is going to have to shake the hand of Donald Trump. Which is just utterly insane. And I've got to admit, I don't care like if people get annoyed about this, right? And this is not an endorsement of Trump at all. I like many were probably just sat there pissing myself with laughter just out of complete amusement because everything that's happened, how mad all of this is, and pinching myself thinking this has to be AI. Like this cannot be real. As Cole Palmer looks absolutely bemused as he has to shake Donald Trump's hand not once, he has to shake it twice, and then Trump, he's doing the thumbs up with all the referees, and then Infantino with white shoes on for some reason drags Trump into the center of our picture, and then Reece just gives him a look whilst holding the trophy that makes me think that Reece is about to use this trophy as a weapon. And then Trump just stands there, and then he disappears as Rob Sanchez like hugs him. I mean, generally, like it's one of the maddest nights I've ever seen in my life. Like utterly nuts. Like it did. I woke up this morning and had to. I'm not just saying this for the podcast. It's something that people say like jokingly, like, "Oh yeah, I had to check it wasn't a dream." Like I genuinely had to because I was up late editing my own show, and I fell asleep at about close to 1ish, and I was up about 7, and I just was like, no, that actually happened. Like all of that actually took place. The maddest thing for me, I'm weird, so I'm into American politics, and it's just utterly bizarre watching Chelsea be talked about or in any sense
Yeah.
with like that. It's like worlds colliding. Chelsea Green, the WWE women's wrestler. I don't, have you seen? You must have seen this because I shared it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Um,
Of course. That's as soon as you. As soon as on
yeah,
your. I was on your
yeah.
X. I think it was. I saw it.
She's holding the, which is a terrible. It's the only way that belt's ever going to look good, to be honest. Is if a wrestler's holding it. But she's talking about. She starts saying blue is the color. I'm like, what in God's name is going on in this world? I just like, it's like like there's going to be a crack in our universe at some point. It's like utterly mad. I don't know how our universe is going to sustain itself at this point. So yeah, a lot of just utter madness across the past 24 hours. Like, I
Mm.
know we've won Champions Leagues, right? And we'll sit here and go, have we won the Champions League? But like in terms of like culturally, this happening in New York, the president of the United States, Chelsea being in the mixture of it, the fist fights, the hair pulls, us absolutely wiping the
You
floor.
forgot the halftime show where Chris Martin was singing next to a dwarf playing bongos.
See, but that was like that was a vaguely normal part of that evening.
I'm not laughing at the dwarf. I'm not Lamine Yamal. All right, don't come at me for that. It's just a bit like it is just absolutely nuts. It was the fact that Infantino and Trump pulled the trophy over. And go, here you go, lads. Infantino starts to walk away. He's like, yeah, Donald, mate, we go. I said, no, I'm absolutely fine here. It's just fantastic. I'm going to stand here and clap. You lift the trophy. Fantastic. Great job, guys. It's great. It's fantastic. Best. You're the best club the world has ever seen. It's fantastic. It's great. It's like, oh, fucking, what is going on? And
Yeah,
then
but I love the idea that he was sat next to Melania and was probably saying to her, like, this is the greatest goalkeeper in the world. He's talking about Rob Sanchez.
I thought everyone was like, when Design went, and we've got an interview with Donald Trump, and everyone was like, I'm not watching that, didn't watch it. And then this morning they go, he's like, it's just some of the greatest players you've ever seen. It's like, so my friend, great guy, head of Warner Entertainment, whatever his name was, he brought a great player called Pele, played right here in the Meadowfields. It was fantastic. It was great. I was like, what how the fuck does this man know about Pele? What is going on? Like, it was just absolutely bonkers. And it was so American. Like, if I could like describe that pre-match show, that halftime show, and that post-match shenanigans in any way, shape, or form, and they go, "How would you describe that to somebody in 2.5 minutes?" I'd send them the music video for Team America. That's literally, I just literally, that's all it
Well,
is. It's like
and then
it was
the Empire State
nuts.
Building the Empire State Building turns blue after the game, and all I could think was Ghostbusters. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Oh.
Um, I genuinely like. I don't think it will get any madder than this. Like, I
No,
genuinely. I know we got American listeners, right? And listen, I have a lot of time for America and Americans and American culture and all
you
of
got to
that.
say it like
But
Trump. I've got a lot of time for
I got a lot of
America.
time.
I love
It's the
America.
greatest
I got all the
country.
time in the
It's the
world.
greatest country. It's the greatest country in the world because I said so. Um, a lot of guys tell me that that football is the greatest sport in the world, but I have to say, because I saw it here, it now is the greatest sport in the world.
What a game! What a
Um,
beautiful game!
what a game! What a game! Big beautiful football. Um,
When I was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, I was also on it with Callum Hudson-Odoi. Great man, great player. It's like,
and Mikel Arteta.
the Mikel Arteta.
We're
Great
having
hair.
a
It
lot.
doesn't move.
Oh man, no, listen. We have to just, for legal reasons. That's a joke, obviously. I don't. I'm not about Trump. I about Callum Hudson-Odoi and Mikel Arteta. I'm just.
Or is it? They are on the flight logs. Dun dun dun. Sorry, this is not a podcast for conspiracy theories. We'll go down that route at some point. If Joey and Josh can do true crime, we can do conspiracy theories. All right, let's just get that settled right now. But
I don't think I'm there yet in my YouTube career. I'm not that desperate yet to go
oh
down
fucking hell! Have you not? No,
the
have you not watched any of Joey and Josh's stuff? To be fair, it's
I
fucking
haven't.
great.
But
It's
no,
quality.
I'm
It's
talking
really
about like
good.
no, I'm not talking about like documentary stuff. I'm talking like conspiracy theory, like wild conspiracy theories.
What
Um,
we could talk about how jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams, but that's in the conversation for another day, isn't it? But anyway, the flight logs. Back to it and back to the Club World Cup, eh, Dan?
I generally don't know where we go from here. To be honest, it kind of does feel like I'm not just talking about this part. I'm talking about Chelsea. I just generally don't know how you go from Donald Trump standing in the middle of our trophy celebration, just getting back to the normal Premier League in a month. Like how are we supposed to move on from this point? It kind of does feel like Avengers Endgame when it's like they keep doing
Yeah.
shows and series, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, no, we've just had Endgame. There
Yeah, this is
there
it.
has to be a can we have a 5-year break from football after this, and then we'll restart it in 5 years' time, reset the timeline back to some sort of
Oh
form of
dear. Oh my god.
normalcy.
It is just absolutely nuts. That like I tell you what. Let's make it easy. We'll start it this way, right? Let's go chronologically, right? So let's just talk about that first half because Enzo Maresca's post-match comments of "we won the game in the first 10 minutes." You look back at it and you go, "Do you know what? We absolutely did." That was uh, you look at what you and I discussed, right? And the only thing we got wrong was Reese being in midfield and Malo Gusto being at right back. And I'll be very honest, when I saw that, I did get a bit nervous because I was a bit, oh God, what are we going to do here? That's a bit like, we've seen him in midfield. He's not been that great. He's been all right, but you don't get the best out of him. And then all of a sudden in the game, you see both the fullbacks going forward. You see Reese and Caicedo sitting and the two centre backs. You see the forwards coming inside. You see Chelsea doing what PSG do to other teams and suffocating them. And then Cole Palmer hits the stanchion. And you sit there and you go, I was in shock. Like I was in disbelief. I don't know if you don't follow me on X or on Instagram. Obviously, Instagram, you see it on all the clips that will come up on the screen and as well. Um, Chelsea being in the position they're in, right? We're kind of watching that, and I thought, I can't believe it. The first goal went in, and I had vibes of Luke Shaw versus Italy in the Euros. I saw that go in and went, right, they're going to come for us now. Like we might be in a bit of trouble here. We're going to need to hold back a little bit here. The second goal goes in, and I'm in disbelief. The third goal goes in, I'm out on the fucking street. I can't believe it. Like it was. I didn't know what to do with my arms, Dan. Like I don't understand how that happens. That is in terms of the mental things that happened yesterday. That is nowhere near what we should be thinking about, right? Like it's not it's
Hmm.
three Chelsea scored 3 goals and whatever. Like, but it is still in the grand scheme of things, we've taken on the best team in Europe, categorically right now, the best team in the world. You yourself were saying, look, these guys potentially up there with Pep's Barcelona. This is an absolutely insane team. They dismantled Real Madrid in this tournament, dismantled Atletico, dismantled Inter Miami, dismantled Inter in the Champions League final, dismantled other teams going through the tournament, didn't lose a game in the league until they'd won the league. And then Chelsea turn up and just do Chelsea things. What the fuck is going on? I don't get it.
This is apparently their heaviest defeat since Newcastle beat them. Do you remember when they were at St James's Park?
Yeah.
And obviously, I think Enrique just joined them, but obviously it does feel like quite a different PSG team. Um, it did feel in some ways it felt like un-Chelsea in the sense of like when we're in the underdog kind of mode, you expect us to be, we have to be, backs against the wall, like a defensive patch job. We're throwing Fernando Torres at left back because we're down to 10 men. All of our defenders are getting injured, and somehow we have to scramble through. Penalties are getting missed, penalties are getting saved, and it's against all the odds. Chelsea turning up in a final like this against a team of this quality, it's not facing Real Betis in a final. It's not facing Arsenal in a final. This is facing, a Champions League winning team. And you're not supposed, Chelsea are not supposed to be like this. But then the more I thought about it, the more it kind of does feel, well, there are things about this game that are very Chelsea. You
Yeah.
know, when the third João Pedro goal goes in, I was thinking about this after the game, not so much watching it. Damien Duff putting the ball under Victor Valdez when we went 3-0 up against Barcelona in the Champions League second leg under Jose. And of course, we'd gone 3-0 up against an amazing Barcelona team in the past as well. Um, there was so much about this performance as well that I think was the culmination of a lot of the development we've seen, but also the culmination of the shithousery in this team that I just adore. Like the Diego spirit in this team is one of my favorite parts of it. Just the Cucurella absolutely doing João Neves. It's one of those. I listen. He didn't just get his hair pulled for doing nothing, but Cucurella did him. Um, the confrontational nature of so many of our players to square up and to be physical and get into the heads of the opposition. You sign Joao Pedro and he's already doing it. Liam Delap comes off the bench and he's already squaring up to people within 2 minutes. The scenes at full time, and these things seem very like shallow, like surface level. They don't seem like it's not the tactical depth and kind of the intellectual side of the game, but I think you need them. You have to have them in the sport because you're naive if you don't have them. You're naive if you think PSG don't play similar games. You're naive if you think everyone is sat around here playing this nice holistic style of football where no one's taking chances, no one's trying to con the ref. You either you play nice and you lose. And I'm not saying you cheat. I'm not saying we become the dirtiest team and a team that goes out to hurt the opposition. It's just about having a bit of streetwise kind of experience within your group, and given it's such a young group, I think they really have developed that, and you get a sense that also Chelsea can do multiple things in the same game. That's the thing that we've always said that we love about Chelsea is we're a chameleon football club. We're in the sense that there is no Chelsea way. There's no you have to play this style of football. There's no, which I think drags a lot of clubs down. I think it drags a lot of clubs down that you have to play this way and this kind of like almost mythical style of football. Like you look at Man United, right? Like they in a sense the Manchester United way. Well, Alex Ferguson is kind of a myth of even what Ferguson's team were, because Ferguson's team at their best were also very flexible. The best teams are flexible, and Chelsea outplayed from like a physical point of view, psychologically, technically, tactically. But then in the second half, completely shutting the game down and were more than happy. I think it was like 34% possession we had, and we said like, listen, no Chelsea fan can seriously claim that they. I think you could have said that Chelsea got a chance to win this game if the circumstances were right, if Chelsea perform at their best, if they take their opportunities in transition. No one expected the dominance to which Chelsea had. But one of the things we did speak about was our ability in transition, that B mode kind of style of
Yeah.
Chelsea that works so well. And I think you saw that, right? Like someone texted me
Yeah.
after the game being like, it feels pretty telling that all three of our goals were transition goals and they were wonderful in that sense. You're not going to be able to play that style of game every week in a Premier League. It's just not going to happen. But I think that all of the noise and madness, which we joked about in the first 10 minutes of this pod, you have to kind of, once you get away from all of that and you start to think about it from a purely Chelsea point of view and what it means for this group and what it means for where we were, not only as a club 2-3 months ago,
Yeah.
you flip your mind back to 2022, the last time we won the Club World Cup, and you ponder what it means for the group moving forward, right? I felt if Chelsea lost, there would have been valuable lessons. You win, and already the chatter post game is we're coming for the Premier League title, we're coming for the Champions League, and
Mhm.
that that sends out a statement. And some people may laugh, some people may say that's it's naive, but look at where Chelsea's public kind of briefing quotes were being, where it was being targeted, and the sentiment of kind of the shrug and move on mentality we had 3 or 4 months ago. And from Maresca to the players, there's none of that anymore. There's none of that
No.
anymore. And I think
No.
it's the cause of winning big games. It's like, oh no, this is where we are now. We've got this, and we believe we're going to be here. And everyone else in the footballing world can dismiss this tournament. Everyone else in the footballing world can dismiss the importance of this game. But I think Chelsea can hopefully prove that to them, this was huge
Yeah.
And I think it is huge. Like PSG weren't. I know they didn't really show up in the final, but it's not. I think PSG losing their heads in this game were a sign that they were taking it seriously. If they weren't taking it seriously, I don't think emotionally their players would have been that invested at the end of the game, would they? If it was just a pre-season friendly.
No, no, exactly, and that is something where you look at it and it's a bit like, wow, okay, this is where we are. This is the it was. I think with that, I said at the beginning of the final score show. Which, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, find that over on all good podcasting platforms because if you missed it after the game, it's always there. Um, I was saying at the very top of the show, I apologize to Maresca. Like I'm like, yeah, do you know what? Like, 3-4 months really has made a difference. Um, and the way that he handled it and the pressure and how he adapted and like you said, the chameleon nature we've had. You know, we played with a high line this season. We play with a high line in this tournament. We play with a defensive block in this tournament. Play with a defensive block in the season. Done this, and it's like you've actually seen now. Like I said, the flying wing backs straight off the bat, flying wing backs. I was like, oh my god, what am I watching? This is spectacular football. Constantly four men behind the
Mm.
ball, so Chelsea were defensively resolute, limited to 3 chances. PSG, like defensively, I still think Chelsea should be looking at a centre back personally, as well as a left back. But kudos to Levi Colwill and Trevor Chalobah, especially kudos to Levi Colwill for that little bit of shithousery. Did you see it? You would talk about how we got a bit of Diego mentality. He laughed in Nuno Mendes' face and pointed at the scoreboard in the second half when he was kicking off. Went, look, mate, 3-0. So, oh my, that is glorious. That was beautiful. And it's the fact that when Reece, all the stuff that they were saying pre-game, now we got this, now we're going to win. I was sitting there going, with everything we've seen this season, all right. So I'm basing this off of what we've seen of this season and of the Clear Lake era, right? When they have said, "Yeah, we'll be all right. Yeah, we got this. We're Chelsea," it has gone disastrously wrong. Chelsea have been in strong positions, 2-0 up in cruising in games, and they completely lost it. And that was even in March that was happening. So I saw us go 1-0 up, 2-0 up. I was like, oh my God. 3-0, I went, all right, you know what? I'm actually not worried if they don't get a goal in the end of this first half. And it wasn't even a case of, if they don't get a goal. They weren't anywhere near it. And this is all down to what Maresca's wanted to do and how he's wanted to develop. And we've been saying it since the end of the season, and people seem to have glazed over that on Twitter with me. So it's quite interesting when that happens. You were saying this a few months ago. Yeah, people can change. It's the beauty. I'm not flip flopping, but it is what it is. We've seen something gone, okay, cool. Now give him the tools. Get him that goalkeeper. Get him what he wants. Because this guy has shown now he can be a chameleon. He can develop. He can change. And he has that fire in his belly. We saw it at the beginning of the season when it was going really, really well for Chelsea. When it got tough, we'll have to see when it happens again because it is going to. Because what you were saying earlier about let's go contend for the league. We're going to contend for the league. We're going to go and contend for the Champions League. And that's obviously what all the outlets are saying. I unfortunately listened to Simon Jordan this morning, and obviously he seems to have a bit of a hate relationship with Chelsea. Whereas going, well, I spent this money. You've got to look at net spend. You've got to look at the gross spend. And like, well, no, you do look at net spend, Simon. That's why your business has failed. But that's another conversation for another day. But you look at everything and how Chelsea have built themselves up. You and I have said it for a long time. Chelsea are yet to achieve any semblance of consistency over 38 games since they won the league in 2017. So that is the next challenge for this Chelsea team to hit that 75, 80 point mark. That's where they need to be. And then I think challenge next year. However, Chelsea categorically now, I'm confident of this, categorically, Chelsea as a tournament outfit, which is what they were for such a long time and in such emphatic fashion, are back doing fantastic things at a tournament level. And I
Mm.
strongly believe that Chelsea will contend. Maybe not for the Champions League this season, but I can see easily maybe going out after a tough defeat in the quarterfinals dependent on who we draw. Obviously,
Mm.
that's 2026. That's a long way down the line, and this isn't a season preview. But Chelsea have shown now they finally have that grit. They finally have that grit, and they are a team to be feared. And if anything, with how it happened against PSG in the Club World Cup final. I'm just looking forward to playing them again in the Champions League. I do feel now potentially that we do have a Chelsea PSG rivalry that is not only built on what happened when we played them previously under the previous ownership, but this now feels potentially like it could be a Chelsea Barcelona rivalry of the mid noughties. I really feel that, especially considering what the ownership and the sporting directors were saying of going, we are looking to be like PSG. Not only have we gone toe to toe with PSG, we've dismantled them. So I know it's only one game. I do want to, like I said, I do want to see us do it consistently over 38 games. I want to see the manager backed, but this is an absolutely spectacular victory for Chelsea. And people can call it a glorified preseason friendly all they want. But do you know what? I don't care. It's a trophy which Chelsea are the only team in history to have won, and now also the only team to have won it all. Absolutely spectacular.
No, I agree with all that. I think that it's that mindset and that winning mentality, and winning mentality is kind of such an overused term, but I think that it still has meaning because it's the classic. It's the overly cliched example for Chelsea fans, but I think it's very relevant because Mourinho so targeted that first League Cup because I think he understood what it meant for that group of Chelsea players to experience winning something together for the first time and to get that momentum. It's probably not a coincidence that Chelsea lifted a trophy in May, had that experience of coming through a lot of pressure because it was coupled. It's weird with this, right? Because it's a singular kind of isolated tournament. A tournament like that, like the Conference League, like the Champions League, like the FA Cup, right? You're doing it within your league season as well, so it's all kind of blends together. There was a lot of pressure that rose all the way up to Rocklaw, which I still firmly believe. I say this biasly because I was there. Like it's one of my favorite footballing experiences I've ever had in terms of like being in person at a game. But you could tell, I think that game meant a ton because you needed to lift a piece of silverware.
Yeah.
But there is a sense that momentum has only continued, right? And you can't. It feels too much of a coincidence that has led into this, and a lot of the same players have achieved again. And yeah, about the Premier League, it's going to be a huge task, and obviously before the
Yeah.
season, we'll deep dive into it. But I I don't think the ambition is wrong. I don't think the ambition of saying Chelsea as a club have not even been remotely close to the Premier League champions. Like I'm not even saying win the title. I'm saying get under 10 points from the eventual champions. That's the starting point. That's the aim because we haven't been there. We've been. It's gone up to 30 points in the season since. You've got to cut that down. So I think that's going to change in a whole season is probably unrealistic, right? But
Mm.
I do think people have. I find it funny. People say they don't care about things, and then they seem to expend a lot of their energy telling us that they don't care
Mhm.
about something. I mean, it's kind of
Mhm.
like how do you know a vegan? They constantly tell you they're vegan. It's like how do you know an atheist? They constantly tell you they're an atheist. And it's that kind of energy I get from people, and I do kind of ponder if like people probably sat down for a hate watch and and turned off. I'd love to see the viewing figures, by the way, at half time, because people probably turned off the TV if they aren't a Chelsea fan at half time. And there is momentum, and winning momentum is a infectious thing in football, right? It can
Mhm.
drive a team forward. There are still you don't want to go overboard and say every single player in every single position is now flawless, and we don't do it. Like nothing needs to be done, right? And none of our concerns before, because I think part of my problem with Chelsea in previous brilliant triumphs is we rest on our laurels too much. There's kind
Mhm.
of like too much smell in the roses, and it's like no, now you go again. And I still think there should be an appreciation or a conversation that, yeah, I agree with you. Left back depth still needs to be sorted. Um, it feels harsh to say it after his best ever performance for Chelsea, Robert Sanchez. I mean, there are still people who I respect who sit there and go, he isn't the worst goalkeeper in the world, right? But I still personally firmly believe that when you've got Mike Magnon sitting there, um, I think it's an investment. I think it's saying serious. I think it's about raising the stakes of the whole club as well. It's about saying to
Mhm.
everyone in the club that yeah, we've won, but we go again, and it's not a sense of sitting back and kind of just appreciating how wonderful we are. That's not how it's going to go, and that's not how the timeline is going to work out, because football never stops. Chelsea in a month's time are going to start, probably over a month now, we're going to have to start playing Premier League football again, and it's a different
A
type of
month and 2
competition.
days. A month and 2 days. The Premier League
Well,
starts again.
as well, there is going to be more scrutiny and expectation internally and externally on Chelsea. I'd rather be here. I'm not saying that's a negative thing. You want pressure, you want expectation, you want to. I said it before the final. I said you want to be in these games. You don't want to be outside looking in, and moaning about it. You want to be sat at the top table, and it has in Chelsea. It feels a little bit 2021 because it took all. When he brought us to the Champions League final, when we won the Champions League, it was something that none of us anticipated could have happened. We thought we were this far away from that sort of like level, and you did it within like a period of months. And then, as I said, resting on our laurels, and we thought that we were now there in terms of the Premier League, and we weren't. So my feeling on this window still remains the same. I think it kind of has to,
Yeah.
and I hope that internally that's still the feeling is like you can't. It was an incredible game. The development of certain players, the development of Enzo Maresca as a coach, the development of the team spirit, those things are still relevant. It's about adding on top of that.
Yeah.
I don't think you undermine that positivity and all those things we praise by strengthening that. Like for me, it's about adding to that. It's not about taking away from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's that's what this is about now. That's why I'm so big on back the manager, back him, go get the tools he wants because he needs it. I do think there's gonna I do think there's gonna be some issues. I mean, the day after we've won the Club World Cup, we've seen Garnacho linked again. I've gone, oh God, no, not him. And then we've seen Clear Lake say, congratulations to our portfolio company, Chelsea FC. Very quickly changed that tweet after they got a lot of abuse from Chelsea fans, and rightfully so. So there's still things that aren't perfect at Chelsea, I think it's fair to say. But look, like, I'm not going to lie, all this stuff which we're talking about, where I agree about not resting on your laurels, I think is something you and I are going to be touching on every week in the transfer window and just going through everything and going, right, what's happened this week? What's this situation? What's occurred here? And we'll be adapting and talking about that. But right now, I think you and I deserve a nice break. Let's put our feet up for a little bit. Let's enjoy this victory. Chelsea have won the Club World Cup and categorically are the best team in the world. Or, in the words of Jeremy Clarkson, Chelsea are the best team in the world. So that's it. Unbearable for 4 years. And Dan's known me for long enough to know how unbearable I am normally. Imagine what I'm going to be like for 4 years. Chelsea have a stinker? Don't worry, mate. Look at the chest. Champions of the world. Is what it is. Hate it or love it, we don't care. It is what it is. Chelsea need to go and get the job done in the next season. But, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the final review of the 24-25 season. Dan, just for you, it's not a bad debut, is it? It's all right. Been a pretty good year.
Yeah, I think we can go one better.
Oh, we absolutely can. And don't you worry, guys, we are going to go one better for the 25-26 season. Don't you worry. The Chelsea Echo is going to be revamped and even better. So if you're new around here, make sure that you hit the subscribe button for all the Chelsea content you need to get. Make sure you head across to Dan's channel as well for all of the rational perspective stuff. You get the idiocy with me, you get the rationality with him. That's the best balance you're going to get on your Chelsea earholes at any given point. If you aren't following us on Spotify or an Apple Podcast, the links are down below if you're watching on YouTube to make sure that you can go and do that and listen to us on the go. We're going to be giving you transfer news and everything you need to know over the next month or so leading up to the Premier League season. And there's going to be some more exciting stuff coming your way as well. But finally, I've been Louis.
I've been Dan.
And this has been the Chelsea Echo. We'll see you in 25-26.